This coffee was filled about an hour ago when I started my first video, but it all got corrupted and is lost to time. I could go brew some more coffee, pretend that it didn't happen, start all over, but every last ounce of emotion I dumped into that video because it is the 10-year anniversary of this channel. And it was celebratory, and it was just a thankful display of my love for all of you. And YouTube, in YouTube fashion, was like, nah. So, we're back again for round 2. I am no less thankful. I am no less thrilled and blown away, and I'm trying to remember what the hell I said the first time, but honestly, I don't. I simply don't remember. This is like the tribute to the first video. I now get what that song was about. This is just a tribute. But I know that thank yous need to be given, and I know that what I wanted to do was not only express how thankful I am for all of just the things that have gone right in my career, but also talk about the things I regret, the things that I wish I could have done differently, and the things that I wish to impart upon you moving forward in this new decade. And hopefully you're along for the ride on 10 Years of Jesse, round 2. The first thing I will say is that I did not, and you most likely will not do it alone. There are very few YouTubers who have found success by themselves. They exist, sure, and those people are lucky as hell or extremely talented, but most of us had help along the way. We were lifted up by somebody else who already had success, and they brought us along with them. For me, it started back in 2010 when I was competing with John Bain to get on the front of MMO Champion. We would try to outdo each other and see who could get a video on MMO Champion before the other. It was the World of Warcraft Cataclysm, hence the original channel name. He won most of the time, but I got him on that dragon video. And it was because of that rivalry that I'm pretty sure was only one way. He took a notice in the content I was making, and when the game station was created, he was like, yo, this thing's coming out. Do you want to be a part of it? And had I not had that initial opportunity, had I not forged that relationship with him, I don't know where I'd be today. Because at the time, I was just losing my job teaching. I don't know if you remember a decade ago, but we were going through another really shitty time in the world. There was a global recession. People were losing jobs left and right. You know, we have to actually divert here because there's another 2 people that need thanked before anyone else. It was during that recession when I had no job that I had to move back home with my parents. And had it not been for them to be there to catch me when I fell, when I lost almost everything I had it not been for them, had it not been for them being there to sort of have a soft landing for me, to welcome me home, to allow me to stay there, to allow me to kind of find myself again in a way that let me be creative and not just like out looking for any job, I got to have time to create videos, and they accepted that I enjoyed what I was doing. And even though it didn't make a lot of money at first, it was, $80, $100, not much per month. They let me continue at it. And eventually when it started to pay off, they let me stick around long enough to save up to eventually move to LA, which is where I am now. So to my mom and dad, thank you. Without you guys, I would not be here. To John, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. It is because of Total Biscuit that I was welcomed into the TGS podcast. And he was like, dude, you're funny. Come join us. And I was like, all right, sure. And it was there that I met Dodger, who has been these last, almost a decade, these last many years, a true friend and one of my favorite people in the world. And I love her to death. we formed like this little fun group. And because we had that group, my channel grew. My channel was growing, but I have fought for every subscriber. I have not been fortunate enough to be like one of those people who shot up overnight. Trust me, I've watched them all pass me. And it was because of that show, the Co-optional Podcast, TGS Podcast, whatever. It was because of that I hit 100,000 subscribers and continued my success. And it was because of Terraria with Total Biscuit or the crazy FMV games with Dodger that I continued to grow. And then I continued to grow further because of Scary Game Squad and Gerard and Alex and Davis. 3 incredible gentlemen who have been nothing but stand-up guys and have treated me so well. And I mean, I'm not out there like, here's your money, boys. They come to film scary games with me just cause. I will say this as something I think most people know. It is very rare to find good friends in this industry. People who are there just to be there because they like you, not because they can't get something from you. It's rare, and when you find it, hold on to it. And if it makes your fanfic any better, I am holding tight to these 3 gentlemen. I have to thank everyone at the office, and the office in general, our crazy YouTuber office. Had it not been for that and all the amazing people there, I would never have had the opportunity to play the original Alpha Monster Prom. It's because of that first time playing through it that I fell in love with it and was like, I think I want to help them make this game. And now I'm a producer on a very successful game that has led me to produce other successful games and hopefully soon to be more successful games. And now I'm creating a game simply because I love the idea of making an FMV game. Like, I've been blessed with all these amazing opportunities that have led to other things. And none of it is because I just on my own was, super charming or like, a funny guy. It has nothing to do with that. You can be as talented as anyone and still not get a shot to show it to people. And I'm thankful that I've had all these opportunities along the way. And that's not even including the people who have come to work for me, like Mari, my current editor, and Dantan, the wonderful animator, and Julian, the mind behind Cox Tunes and many other things. Former employees like David, Tucker, Zach, Max, Mike, Chelsea, Stacy. Also, I cannot forget all of the RPG makers, that original crew that helped me create worlds way back in the day, who went on to help create CoxCon. Without them, that would not be a show. It would not have run. I thank them, and I will continue to thank them for doing amazing things. And thank you for being there when I was like, "Could you handle it?" You were always some of my favorite people in the world. Yeah, I think that's it. I really can't think of anyone else that I've worked with. Oh, Crendor, of course. Shout out to Crendor. That's a good guy. Right now, I'm getting a text message from Kristen that's like, what the... And of course, Kristen. She has been my single longest employee. That girl has the patience of a saint. If anyone deserves a shout out, it is Kristen. Thank you for all the hard work for all these years. Thank you to all the people who collaborate with me, like Octo and Michelle and Santel. And like, look, I can't just start naming people. This can't be just a list of names. As much as I want to, just know that if I haven't said your name, I love you. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for enriching the work that I do and my day-to-day life. I will thank you in person always. You know that. And you help keep all this afloat. Oh, we almost at the bottom now. All right. Some other advice. Some other things to put out into the world. Hustle. If you're just starting out, hustle. I know it seems weird to put your name out there. I know it seems fake. I know that you think like, oh, I'm just annoying people. I've said this before. I'll say it again. When I first did YouTube, when I was first posting videos about the Cataclysm beta, I went to every World of Warcraft forum and posted, I don't know, if not every video, almost every video. and then created multiple accounts to make sure that video stayed on the front page for as long as I felt like it should. And I would just bump it back up. And then more people would see it. Some would be like, this guy sucks, but some would stay, some would subscribe, and I would just keep bumping it. And then I'd make a new video, bump it. And I keep doing it. That's how you start out. When there's no one on your side, when there's no one but you. I don't know how well that works now because things on the forum scene have changed. But find your own method. Get out there. Put your name out there. Because unless you have someone to lift you up and help you along the way, no one's going to be there for you. You have to be the master of your own destiny. And sometimes take it by the reins and guide it yourself. Speaking of which, learn to say no. I have a massive problem that I'm still struggling with where I say yes to anything. I'm like, sure. Because I feel like if I say no, that person's going to hate me for it. I have no evidence of that. In fact, many times I'll say no and then they'll come back to me with another project or another thing that I can do in the future. But you always feel like this will be your last chance. Or maybe, a friend won't like you because you say you don't have time for a thing. That is my biggest issue. And all it leads to is you being further behind and constantly trying to catch up and then letting people down, right? If you say, yeah, I'll get this thing done, and then you just simply don't on time, or you're like, I can't do it later, then why'd you say yes, right? It sucks. And it's something that I think a lot of us deal with because Lord knows there's times when I'm asking people and they're like, sure, and then nothing happens. I get it. I think we all want to please other people. That's why we're in this industry. That's why we create videos, because we like to make people laugh and smile, and we like to bring joy to the world. And sometimes you just think by saying yes to everything, you're bringing someone a little bit of joy, and really you can just be like, no, it's cool. I just can't do this right now. I too struggle with that. I have a lot of regrets over things I said I would deliver in the past and then simply haven't. It sucks because you're like, I let a person down when I told them I could do a thing simply because I wanted to make them, happy with my work and like me more. And as a result, they're probably like, well, I can't trust him to do a thing now. So yeah, Lord knows I have regrets. As I lean here on my desk, finish my coffee, this mug reminds me of some of the mistakes I made along the way that I carry around that I wish I could take back as I've grown, as I've moved through my 30s. One of them that I really truly regret is not appreciating and mocking other people's content. I think it's fine if you're with friends to find a video that you think is dumb or funny and be like, oh, this is terrible. I think that's fine. But there have been times in the past, early in my career, where I found a video or something that was weird and I sort of like publicly mocked it as being terrible. A great example is one time I was in a podcast and we were talking about a video where a guy was like spraying whipped cream into his mouth and he was like, oh, whipped cream. And I laughed and laughed at how dumb that video was. And people listening to the podcast went there and like shamed the dude to the point where he left the internet. I felt terrible. Felt so bad. The guy was just making videos for fun. And we had like shamed him off the internet. Right here. Ormsby's Cinema Insane was a dude and a puppet talking about terrible old movies, making a show that on the co-optional podcast, I think it was TGS podcast at the time, I was like, it's so bad, I even got a mug. It was just a dude making a show that he loved and was doing for fun. And I was sitting there like, this is terrible. And, looking back all these years later, it feels totally wrong, and I'm ashamed to have done it. Don't shit on other creators' work, right? It's people expressing themselves. They already have enough people out there telling them they suck. Understand people create differently, and if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But there's no reason to, go out there and make a video and be like, this guy sucks. Like, I hope that in the coming decade we can be more positive, and focus on being good examples to our community and kind of leading the way that way. There have been times in the past where I've made a tweet, like, example, don't be mad at your president and then tweet about his son thinking it's a hot take when really it's just insensitive and like really dumb to do. Don't host a movie premiere and make a masturbation joke. Turns out it's not the place or time. And I've learned a lot of lessons over the last 10 years that have helped guide me to be a better person and to think about what I put out into the world more. And hopefully you will understand from my mistakes that, you can goof, you can make stupid mistakes, as long as you move forward in earnest, one of the two. As long as you move forward with the intention to grow and change, is what I'm trying to say. People will see that, they'll take notice, and they'll be receptive of what you're trying to put out into the world. And my hope is that you will take what I'm trying to say and use it in your life and think about, what you tweet and what you say. For the sake of time, if I had one more regret that I wanted to share with you, it would be that I have, over the course of the last 12 or so years, been very fortunate enough to have been in relationships with some really amazing people. Like, I've dated some pretty awesome people, and clearly they didn't work out, but for most of that time I thought, oh, it was a they thing, and like, oh, Jesse's, I busted my ass for relationships, it's all them. Over the last year, I've made sort of an effort to just stick to being single and focus on me and sort of reflect on who I am as a person and figure out, why my relationships always fail, that kind of thing. And I realized that no matter how a relationship I had ended, a contributing factor was me. And I never saw it at the time, but it's very obvious looking back. And that factor is that I always put work before the relationship. I put this and the love of this before the love of that. And it's hard. It's hard to be 100% emotionally there for someone else when you are pouring emotion into this as well. When you are spending 12, 14 hours a day editing, rendering, creating, it's hard to give that to someone else. It's hard when it seems like you value this more than them. And I know that even though at the time I didn't see it, looking back, this whole 2020 hindsight thing, looking back, I realize how badly I failed in responsibilities to be like in a relationship. I regret that tremendously. I regret that not just romantic relationships, but interpersonal with friends. And all the times I said, I can't go out, and just stayed home and like worked on a video, or just played a game instead because I just wanted to have some downtime, or, didn't go to a birthday party. And reflecting, I wish I had said yes every single time. I know some people relate to that, and some people will be like, no, I'm fine staying home. I get it. But in my life, I regret not enjoying things more and instead focusing all on this. Because no matter what, you can spend all the time in the world making videos, and it can also be totally meaningless. Like, there's times I'll just pound out videos just because I'm trying to pound out videos, not because I'm like into it. Like, I've burnt out many times. And through all of that, I've put relationships with others on hold. And only recently have I really truly understood that. And it sucks because I regret that. I regret that I lost so much time with friends, and with people that I loved. And it's one of those things where you can't ever get that back. And, be it relationships that have ended or people that I've lost, you only have so much time. This is not as important as that. This as a career is your job. but it's not your life, and it shouldn't be your life. So yeah, all right, enough of that. I guess to wrap this up, I will simply say to all of you who have watched me for the last 10 years, some of you, one dude was like, I've watched you since I was 9. I'm like, how old are you now? And he's like, 19. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old. To all of you who have been around for 10 years or 5 years or 1 year, doesn't even matter. Thank you. You make this community as special as it is. It is, I'm constantly told by people how positive and welcoming and amazing you all are. And I'm so thankful to have you. And finally, thank you for letting me keep it real. Do people still say keeping it real? Thank you for letting me be myself. I don't put on a character. I don't pretend to be someone I'm not. I don't do any of that. I'm just me, and this is what you get. And this time you got a guy who recorded an hour-long video and is like over it. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this taught you something about the behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain of 10 years of YouTube. Here's to 10 more. Here's to you being with me. And here's to you creating your own stuff and putting your own kindness out into the world. And I wish you nothing but success. And remember me, when you shoot past me in subscribers, remember it was Jesse who helped you, and throw me a few bucks when you become a billionaire. And that's it for me. Thank you so much. More videos to come, more nonsense. And as always, to be continued.
Where's the payoff? Bring the strippers and booze. We do occasionally talk about video games. Bring the strippers and booze. Out of time for video games. Bring the strippers and booze.
Oh, thank God, I don't need pants now.
Hey, JC, what are you doing? Not much. Making a fortune.
It's a promotional broadcast.
Yeah, now sing music.
It's a promotional broadcast.
Bring the strippers and booze.
It's a promotional broadcast.
I'm here to ask and answer one simple question.
It's a promotional broadcast.
You